Yes, people, big up to every single one of you. I hope you are doing very, very well. Look, I hope you've had a good day. It's been really bright and sunny today, man. So I can't lie. I'm in a good mood. I think I get that thing where it's like that. Is it seasonal? Where you look at the weather and you think I'm in a good mood today because the sun's out. And then when it's rainy and gloomy, it's like, oh, it's a bad day. Usually when Arsenal are losing, it's a bad day. But sometimes you look out the window and you think, you know what? I'm in a good mood. And it's one of those days. Big up to every single one of you that's here nice and early. Thought about a little bit of a last minute stream, to be fair, because I wanted to try and find some time to talk about the breaking news about Andrea Berta. Of course, we're going to be discussing today. Looks like he's going to be the replacement for Edu. We're going to be mentioning that today. We're also going to go through the names and the news as we look towards the PSV game tomorrow evening, which not a lot of Arsenal fans are confident or looking forward to. Do you know what? I sat there this morning, and I looked at the people behind me and I thought, I remember Dennis Bergkamp. And I looked behind me and I remember Bergkamp, I remember Henri, I remember Ian Wright, and I remember thinking, I'm lucky. I'm so lucky that I got to see them play. So lucky. So that's where I'm at. And I wish sometimes that I appreciated more those days. So my kind of advice to anybody who's been successful, remember it, milk it, and enjoy it, because you do not know how long it will be until you're successful again. And that goes for every football club and every walk of life. So big up to everyone that's here. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. And make sure you're following Reality Raffles. So at the moment, I've got unbelievable prizes. So please make sure that you're following on Instagram. Reality Raffles is the place to be. So please make sure that you are, at the moment, following them, because they've got brilliant prizes. And if you use the code FTM10, you're going to get some money off. Coldplay tickets available. Victorious Festival available. Mini Cooper and £500 of cash available. Please make sure you get your tickets there. You can see how much they are per entry. You can use the code FTM10 to get 10% off of that as well. Well worth getting involved in those. If Jamiroquai or Katy Perry are more of your thing than Coldplay, tickets there available as well for their tours. And there's a chance to win £100,000 worth of cash. Please make sure that you use the code FTM10 to get that 10% off. There is fantastic opportunities on Reality Raffles. So please make sure you are showing them some love, because that's exactly what they're doing to us as our sponsors of the channel. So please make sure you're doing that. Please, people. Thank you all so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Harvey says, Dan, you don't stop. Content after content. I hope you've got a good cushion. Do you know what? I'm very lucky because the chair I sit on is very comfortable. And I've got to big up my dad for that, because he managed to get that. Worked from home, and now he's retired. He's like, don't need this chair anymore. Do you want it? I said, oh, yeah, I'll lap it up. So, yeah, I do have to get something comfortable, because the amount of content I'm doing at the moment is pretty busy. But do you know what? It's all good. And it's all for a good purpose. And do you know what? If you guys keep coming back, I'm going to keep putting out the content, people. So if you're enjoying it, then please do make sure that you show the evidence that you're enjoying it by hitting the like and subscribe on this channel. Please make sure you do that, people. We're on the way to the big 4-0, which is incredible, that you guys have been following me from there. We've got some people in the chat that have been here since day one, when I was only on 1,000. So thank you so much for you guys for being with us. Look, let's talk a little bit about the breaking news this morning. When I woke up, I got pleasantly surprised from a stream that we did the other day, myself and Curtis. Make sure you go check that out if you haven't done so already. Talking about who we actually do have as an opportunity to replace Edu. And we read out the list, and it was like Jason Ato, no way. Dan Ashworth, no way. Alabe, yeah, potentially, but I'm not really behind it. And Scuro, yeah, done well at Monaco, but would he leave? And then there was Andrea Berta. And we both agreed, myself and Curtis, that this would be the one that we would 100% approve of. And it looks like it's going to happen, guys. It looks like it is going to happen. There is an unbelievable opportunity for us to be getting him. Now, I've got to say, I'm a big fan of what he's done. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why. Now, it's come from Fabrizio Romano, who is seen as one of the most reliable out there. And there is strong probability of this happening. Now, Romano doesn't normally tweet unless there is kind of secure, cemented evidence that there is some truth behind this. And he says that we understand that Berta is now the top candidate to become new Arsenal director in order to replace Edu. Now, that means nothing at the moment. It means that he is the number one that we're trying to get. And then he goes on to say that the discussions have already taken place. He said Berta left Atletico after building the team with key signings in recent years, and talks are at an advanced stage. He said it's not done, though, It is not sealed yet. Now, what we will say about that is at least we are looking at someone with a bit of experience. And people will say that this guy has not done too much in the game. But actually, when you look at it from 2017 to 2024 at Atletico Madrid, I look at some of the names and I think, yeah, do you know what? This is absolutely the right guy or one of the right sort of people that we should be bringing in terms of a footballing man. And somebody that you look at as a football man, I think that people do respect. Now, a lot of people are sitting there now going, well, do you actually have a bit of a voice? Who's the powerful voice here then? How much of it is Andrea Berta? How much of it would be Mikel Arteta? Will they clash? Well, um, because I have to be real. I think there's an opportunity here for this to really work. But it is all on Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta needs to have a right-hand man that he sees as someone he respects and someone that's been around the block and someone that can say, look, I know right now what you think you're doing is correct, but trust me, we need to go this route. Or trust me, this needs to be looked at in a different light. And Arteta needs to listen to that voice. And I'm not so sure that he had that in Edu. I think Edu was quite inexperienced himself. Yes, he understood the Premier League, as done Mikel Arteta, but they're quite young in the position and the role that they've gone into. I think he needs somebody who's got an experienced head alongside him. Now, working with Diego Simeone at an elite level for 7 years and dealing with some of the players he's dealt with, you can't get more experienced than that. And I wanted somebody in the mould of that. I would have quite happily taken an Alabi or Startori over the likes of Aito. I would have been more than happy to look at an Alabi or Marco Nepp or Scoro over the likes of some of the players that we've been linked with. But he was absolutely the number one choice for me because I've been so impressed by what he has done at Atletico Madrid. A team at the moment, by the way, who could actually win La Liga and could actually win all three trophies. They're still in all three. Big up to Dansky. Says like and subscribe, guys. Make sure you are doing that and have done that if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for the super chat, my bro. I really appreciate that, Dan. Another loyal listener and one of you who's been around for a while. So thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate it. And one of our members, if you would like to become a member, you can click the join button, which is next to like and subscribe. So make sure you hit those three, and you can pay a minimal fee if you wish to the content. So please make sure that you are up for that as well. Look, I am massively excited by this news. And if this happens, I'm going to have to put praise to the club. And a lot of people think that I don't like doing that. Now, I'll give you some evidence and some examples of when I have praised the club. I will praise the club when I believe they've done everything they can in their power to bring something positive to the club. And I'll blame them or the manager or the players when I believe that they deserve criticism. And unfortunately, it's been the latter of late. But where I will say that I have praised the club in the past is I've praised what they've tried to do with removing the kind of toxicity off the field, looking at the culture of Arsenal, looking at what it's like to wear the shirt, looking at understanding the history of the club, trying to connect the fan base with what they're doing. All that stuff I've given praise for to Edu and to Arteta, right? I've not been very, very polite about the Cronkies because I believe that since they've taken total ownership, they wanted to show some ambition to get back into the Champions League, but not to win trophies. And that's where my quick question mark is and concerns are. But I will say that if they get this appointment across the line, I will 100% give them praise because I think it's a good appointment. I have to be real. I can't be hypocritical. I can't say, yeah, well, it was good, but I still hate you, because that's not really fair. You've got to say, I'm giving you praise for that because it's a good decision. Doesn't mean we're going to win everything. Doesn't mean our transfer policy is now going to be superb. Doesn't mean that we're going to get the players in that we all want. But it's definitely the right move because bringing him in is definitely 100% the right thing to do, as opposed to keeping the appointment of Jason Ato. Happy to keep him at the club if he goes and learns behind him, plays behind him, does that kind of thing, plays behind him. Pause. That's the wrong term to use. If he goes and learns from him, is what I should say. And that's someone's definitely clipping me up for that. Then I'm more than happy for that to happen, right? But when I look at the actual position of somebody that's needed, we do need someone, man. We do need someone with experience. And I have to be honest, I believe this is a good appointment. And I'm in the situation now where I kind of forgotten about it doesn't matter to me that we're doing this in March. Okay. It doesn't matter to me that we're doing this in March now, because there's no point of going, we should have done this in December. We didn't. We should have done this in January. We didn't. That's in the past now. We have to look about the future and say, right, they've made huge mistakes. Let's make sure they don't go and do that again. That's where I'm at, right? That's where I'm at. So I can't sit there and be overcritical of them trying to get this person in because they should have done it sooner. Like, we can mention that, we can talk about that. Everyone has already, right? What we need to do now is be aware that there is 100% an opportunity for us to get this appointment right. And that right there is one of the most important signings for Arsenal. The sporting director, the director of football, whatever you want to call him. And if it is going to be Andrea Berta, then I will absolutely say fair play. Say fair play. We have to get it across the line. You know, Fabrizio says that we're linked, we're in advanced talking. Well, let's make sure that we get it right, yeah? Because trust me, there's definitely the right thing to do. And I think that is a great option for us. I really do. I think it's a really good option for us to get him. So I think it would be a serious move for Arsenal. I think a lot of the rival clubs would go, oh, do you know what? Hats off. Hats off. And there's a lot of people that think I'm incredibly negative and toxic when it comes to it. And I'm saying great things about this right now. This is a very, very, very good thing for Arsenal, in my humble opinion. And some people won't like to hear that. They won't clip me up saying nice things about it. They'll always clip me up saying horrible things about it. That's what they'll do, right? I am saying positive things here. I think he would be a fantastic appointment for Arsenal. That's what I think. So why do I think that? And what is the evidence showing as to why? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Because there is a lot of reasons as to why. Not just how successful they've been, Atletico Madrid under himself and Simeone, not just what they've won trophy-wise, but also what players have been brought in and sold under this regime. Now, a lot of people are talking about the notable signings. Well, there's more to add to this list. But these are some of them. The notable signings made by Berta as technical director or sporting director of Atletico Madrid. We've got João Felix, record 127 million. Julian Alvarez, 75 million euros, up to 95 million euros. Thomas Lemar, remember him? We were linked with him for a mad amount of money. 72 million pounds. Diego Costa for 60 million euros. Conor Gallagher for 42 million euros. Rodrigo de Paul, 35 million euros. Mateus Cunha, who's now at Wolves, of course. Antoine Griezmann. Rodri for 20 million from Villarreal. What a signing. Jan Oblak for 16 million pounds, one of the best goalkeepers in the league over the last few years. Luis Suarez, of course, was signed for them. Diogo Jota, people forgot that he was a part of Atletico Madrid before he came over to the Premier League at Wolves and Liverpool. And of course, Toby Alderweireld for 7 million euros as well. And actually, we can add more to that. We can actually add more to that because what I did earlier was I looked at the top 20 of players that he has signed in his time, and it's in order from 2017 right the way through to 2024. And I did this on Lee Judge's stream earlier. Let me just get this. I had to write this down. So Vasalco, Fernando Torres, Nico Gaitan, or Gatan, whatever you want to call him, from Benfica back in the day. Diogo Jota, as mentioned. Theo Hernandez, now, of course, one as recognised as one of the better fullbacks in Europe. You've got Diego Costa, who is mentioned. Rodri, which I still can't believe, by the way. £20 million from Villarreal. That is absolutely outstanding. Obviously, Kieran Trippier was mentioned. Hermosa was mentioned. Marcos Llorente, João Felix, Kondogbia, Luis Suarez, Carrasco, Morata, Mateus Cunha, Rodrigo de Paul, Molina, the fullback from Argentina, and of course Griezmann and Julian Alvarez. So those are the sort of names that have been mentioned as playing for Atletico Madrid because of or responsibility of Berta. So we have to be fair and say that he's had a good crack at getting most of these things right. Most of these signings have gone right. Yeah, you get a few that have gone ski with, but that's football, right? When I look at it right now, I think, do you know what? That is an absolutely fantastic opportunity. Because this shows evidence that he can work with the best players and bring in the talent that he has. Now, some of those were definitely second stints, the Moratas, Fernando Torres, Diego Costa. Obviously, you had Griezmann. It was a second stint. But let's be real, he's worked with those players and he's managed to actually allow them to have a chance to come and play at the club. And do you know what? They've been successful. Conor Gallagher is one which is being mentioned. Let's be real. I'm not going to say that I'm a huge fan of Conor Gallagher, but certainly he's come in and done well, and he's looking to be nearly top. To be fair, my point is there's an experience here, and there's a CV that says I'm responsible for winning. And the CV that says I'm responsible for winning is what I need at Arsenal. Whether that's management, whether that's staff, whether it's players, I want to be bringing in players around Arsenal that have the elite mentality that is, I need to win, and this is the proof that I can do it. Joshua Kimmich, some people are laughing at, oh, he's 30, he's washed. You know what? If he comes in alongside a Zubimendi, I'd be cool with it because he's won everything there is to win in the game and he's an elite footballer. Then you look at somebody like Simone Inzaghi, somebody like Diego Simeone as a manager if Arteta was to leave. That's why I want one of them managers. I don't want to go and get De Zerbi. I don't want to go and get Cesc Fabregas. I don't want to go and get Thomas Frank or Marco Silva. I want to go and get someone who's got the elite mentality. That's why I don't want Iriola. Because much I think one day he'll be a great coach, what's he actually won in the game ahead of Arteta? Not much, right? So that's where I'm at. And I think it will be a fantastic opportunity. I'm so glad it is not Jason Ato, Thomas Rosicky, Per Mertesacker, Jack Wilshere, Cesc Fabregas, all these people that people go, I'll bring him back, bring Gilberto Silva in, bring Kolo Touré in. I don't want any of them. I want it to be, do you know what? This is what I've done over here, and I'm going to now bring that to Arsenal. Now, what do I think will happen in terms of working alongside Mikel Arteta? I do think there's definitely something that does make me believe they'll work well together. And I'll tell you what it is. Diego Simeone is not an easy character to work with. Diego Simeone is brutal. He's ruthless. And I think that the players that have been brought in have been recognised by both Berta and Simone together. And they seem to work well. I mean, look what they've achieved in the last 7 to 8 years. Then I look at what they've done in the game in terms of trophies. Then I look at what his relationship might be with Mikel Arteta. Now, there's no denying the fact that Mikel Arteta has a loud voice at Arsenal. Right? He has a powerful voice alongside Josh Kroenke, in my opinion. And I do think there's definitely something to be said about that. I still don't know what's gone on with V9 and Edu and why they've gone, but something went on there. You don't put someone on gardening leave. They go. Do you know what I mean? So I think personally there's something that's gone on there. I do believe there's been a fallout. I don't know who with. I don't know if Edu's fallen out with the Kroenkes and walked. I don't know if he's fallen out with Arteta and walked. I don't know if him and Arteta have fallen out over business. I don't know if Arteta and Edu are actually on the same side. And he said, look, I'm going to go, but you stay and manage here. I don't know any of the ins and outs. We will find out in the summer. I've got no doubt when he leaves. I'm sure he'll come out and make it clear. But for me right now, we need to look at the appointment and getting it right. And if Arteta is to say to Andrea, these are the players I want, and Andrea says, you know what, let's go and do that. Alongside that, I suggest you do X, Y, Z. Mikel Arteta needs to go, do you know what, I agree. Let's do it. You know, you've been around the block. You're more experienced than me. You've had 7 years just at Atletico Madrid alone. I've had 5 years in management. You know what you're doing. That's what needs to happen. And I do think we need a little bit of Diego Simeone that's coming across. We do need a little bit of ruthlessness. We do need a little bit of dark arts, as people have liked to see. And I don't mind all that. I don't mind. I don't look at managers and go, do you know what? He's a wonderful man. I'd love to go for a drink with him. I look at him and I look at Simeone. I think, you are nasty. You're a nasty piece of work. But do you know what? I'd have you tomorrow. I would. Oh, what's he won in 3 years? Yeah, do you know what? Fair plays. If they've got standards, sack him. But do you know what? He's got credit in the bank at Atletico Madrid. Because look at what he's done. Not only has he played for him and he's a legend there, he's now a legend as a player and a manager there. Because look at what he has done and achieved there. If you win La Liga, when Ronaldo and Messi aren't playing for you, but they're playing for two of the biggest clubs in world football, and you finish ahead of them, you deserve respect. If you look at what they're doing now and what they've spent in comparison to Barcelona and Real Madrid and what they actually make profit-wise in comparison to those two clubs, and you're competing, let alone finishing above them, you deserve an unbelievable amount of credit. And when he gets stick about, he doesn't play very well, or he doesn't look nice, he's not attractive, mate, I'll see him score goals. I see him score a amount of goals. I saw him score 4 against Barcelona the other day. You're telling me that's a defensive-minded coach? Yes, he's got the balance right. That's what's different. Sometimes they don't concede. Sometimes they do, and they go for it. So for me, I think it's a definitely disrespectful thing to say that nobody would take Diego Simeone. Do you know, if I'm Man United, I'm taking Simeone or Simone Inzaghi. I'm taking one of those that come in there brutally and go, right, you ain't good enough, you're coming in, you ain't good enough, you're coming in, all that kind of stuff. So for me, that's where I'm at right now. So I've got to be honest with you. I think personally, there is a really good sense around this appointment in the fan base. There's a lot of people that are saying this is a really, really good appointment. And I can see why. I totally get why. Why would it not be? Why would it not be a great appointment? You know? So that's where I'm at. And I have to say it's a really, really interesting bit of news and appointment because I'm in an unbelievably positive news about it. And I really hope that there is good news on the horizon for Arsenal with that appointment. Now, they said they wanted to make the decision in March. They said they wanted to try and get that sorted ASAP. And I do believe that that's exactly what they should be doing. I think there should be a sense of urgency with this one, because what we want to do is try and plan for the summer. And people that are saying we're expecting a big summer again and it's a war chest and it's blah, 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 blah. I don't care about all that right now. This will be an interesting summer if we get this appointment correct. We will see how good Edu really was. We will see what it is like to have somebody with experience on the board, with someone that actually does know what they're doing. I honestly believe there'll be an opportunity for us to have a good summer with him. And that gives me more confidence that we've got him in place. If we do get him, that Arsenal will have a good summer. I'm not saying we're going to go and sign Isak. I'm not saying we're going to go and sign Isak on top of Zubimendi, on top of Morgan Rogers, on top of Nico Williams. I don't know what we're doing in this summer, right? But I can promise you that if we got this guy in, we will have a better summer with him than without him. And let's just be real. We've seen what last summer on transfer windows like without him. Because Edu was pretty much done in that summer transfer window. Jason Ato took over and did nothing. I don't want any of those to be happening again. I don't want that to ever be happening again at Arsenal, right? That's not something I look at and think is a good thing. Look, there's 600 of you in here. Please make sure you do me a favor. Over 600 of you now. Please make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe, people. Come on. Big up to every single one of you. I really appreciate it. Look, a lot of people have said to me, why are you talking about the summer? And I've been someone who's been shouting that out for quite some while. I've been banging that drum for a while because we've got a Premier League and a Champions League that we should have been going for. Now, we're out of both domestic cups and we're definitely out of the Premier League now, in my opinion, although it's not mathematically over. We all know who's won the league. But the Champions League is up next and it's something that we need. Now, we've got to try and stink our way through this competition somehow. And we're going to come up against some unbelievable teams. But that's if we get through PSV. Yeah? That is who we need to get through first. Now, I look at the scenario now and I think PSV can cause problems in the next couple of games. But our summer that we want is so obvious what we need. And I think the Champions League and the Premier League games will prove exactly what we need in the summer. Because right now we're stacked at the back. We've got our best goalkeeper. We've got our best midfield. But our front three at the moment is all out. Havertz, Martinelli and Saka is the front three that we went for. Which means that we went into the summer believing that Sterling, Jesus and Trossard was good enough cover. And now we've got 4 of them injured. We haven't got good enough cover. We'd have to bring Ethan into the mix. So for those that say, well, we can't win the league because our front forwards are out. Well, I thought you said we had good summer and we had good cover. When I said Sterling and Jesus and Trossard, that isn't enough for cover, everyone said I was negative. 17-year-old Ethan was seen for me as someone who could be moulded into the squad and he's had to be jumped in the deep end because of injuries. We haven't prepared well enough in the summer or January. So I want that summer now to be even better. And the way that we can do that is to prove that we still are, when the chips are down, a top side. And I have problems with that because we've got a lot of games coming up that I don't feel confident with. Our fixtures at the moment, I don't see us beating Manchester United. They are trash, but I don't see us scoring goals. I don't see us beating Chelsea. I don't see us beating Fulham. I'm starting to wonder where the next win's coming along. We've got Palace, Bournemouth and Brentford that are all very, very good. Yes, it's all at home. But do you know what? Palace are on fire. Bournemouth are impressive. And Brentford have got Viscera and Mbeumo who are firing this season. We don't beat Fulham. When was the last time we beat Fulham? I can't remember, if I'm honest with you. It was that long ago. And then we've got Everton away. David Moyes football. It is going to be a stink game. 0-0, maybe 1-0 either way. And I'm looking at that for all of those games I've just mentioned. None of these games are going to be 3-0 Arsenal, 4-1 Arsenal. They don't score goals. Yeah? We've got Ipswich away and Southampton away. I fancy us to beat both of those, but you never know. You never know. Yeah? And then you've got Newcastle at home, which we all know is very, very tricky. Lost 3 times so far this season to them. That's just the Premier League. Then we look at the Champions League and we think PSV first. We've got them tomorrow night. Then it's the away leg the week later. And I don't feel confident. I'm not saying we're definitely going to lose. I'm not saying we're definitely going to win. But I will say this. We have to. We have to find a way. We've got to try and stink our way through it. We've got to try and be in a position where we can at least say, do you know what? That was absolutely vile. I never want to play 2 games like that again. But do you know what we've done? We got through it. That's what matters. We got through it. So that's where I'm at. And I've got to be realistic with you when I say this. I think if we do win this game, it will be a 1-0. I think it might be a 0-0 tomorrow night. And if it does go anyway, it'll be 1-0, and it'll be very tricky for us in the following game. But I do think we'll win at home. And I think there'll be an opportunity for us to stink this out by 1 goal. I don't want it to go to penalties. It'd be horrible. But stink it out, and I'm happy. Just get through it. Then in the next round, we got Real Madrid. Well, we don't know that yet, do we? Because they've got to play Atletico Madrid, who are a side I've just mentioned are doing very, very well. I would like to see Real Madrid go out, personally. A lot of people want us to get Real Madrid because it's great for us, and it hasn't happened since 2006. But I don't want Real Madrid. We're going out. And if I'm honest with you, I think we're going out of Atletico Madrid as well. So that's the round I believe we'll go out in. But if we do manage to stink our way through one of those Madrid teams, we've then got Liverpool or Villa, which I think probably will be Liverpool, although I'm not rolling out that Villa might cause an upset over 2 legs under the lights at Villa Park in a European night with Unai Emery. You never know. But I do think it'll be Liverpool. And if we do get through, then it's Barcelona. So you're telling me right now, there's the 3 best teams in the world, in my opinion, right now, which are Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Barcelona. And we might have to face all 3 of them to get to and win the Champions League, which is crazy. Now, of course, what we want is for there to be a shock, right? And somehow Inter Milan or Bayern Munich get to the final on their side of the draw, and Arsenal get to the final on our side of the draw. A lot of people were saying they would absolutely love it to be Arsenal-Barcelona 2006 final. And do you know what? A part of me says I'd like to see that as well, just to try and get some revenge. But Barcelona will beat us. Liverpool will definitely beat us over 2 legs. And I do believe Real Madrid will as well. So I kind of feel like we're stumped now. Now, if we had our players back, I might be able to say fair play. And that's where I want to leave it. People say that we might need our players back. Well, actually, Saka and Martinelli, might actually be back. I don't think they will be back soon, but I think they will both play. People say they won't see Saka till next year. I know what this manager's about. He wants to play him. He wants to bring him back. He absolutely wants to. So I think there's a opportunity to see it. Now, the matches are around about the 8th and 15th of April. So if I look at that now, let's see where that is. Because I've been told that it's around about April where Saka and Martinelli will come back into the mix, right? Martinelli definitely before. That means they will be back for around about the 8th of April, which means they'll be back. So it will be, let's say we get through against PSV, right? It will be Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, then Brentford, then Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, then Ipswich. So actually, it's in between the Brentford game. So it's not landed in a horrendous place if we do get through, right? First of all, we've got to get through against PSV. It's really difficult. I appreciate that, and I understand it is, right? But I do think that if we got through and we played against PSV and we played one of the Madrids, it's actually landed in not horrendously for us. But I must say this. I don't even know if we're going to get through PSV. But if we do, and we get one of the Madrids, that means we're only missing a forward then. Now, if I said to you, Saka and Martinelli are fully fit for the quarterfinals of the Champions League, that means we're only missing Havertz and Jesus. So we could play Martinelli through the middle with Trossard and Saka. We could play Waneri and Saka either side of Martinelli, or we could play Waneri through the middle with Martinelli and Saka, which would probably be what I'd go for, if I'm honest with you. Yeah. Trossard, Sterling, Marino, they'd all become subs. Maybe that gives us more firepower. Saka's the key. Saka is the key. And I think we've thrown the league away. But if we do get through against PSV and Saka and Martinelli are fit to play one of the Madrids, I'm not going to say we're definitely 100% out. And I'm not saying that Saka and Martinelli can win us a game because they're that good. But it definitely gives us more firepower than we've got right now. And I wouldn't rule out the front three being Waneri, Martinelli and Saka. That's something that I'd actually like to see. I think Havertz being out and Jesus being out, I don't think they actually give us an absolute pivotal force up front. I'm not like, yes, Havertz and Jesus are fit. But actually, if I said to you right now, what's more exciting, Havertz, Saka, and Martinelli, or Waneri, Saka, and Martinelli? I think there'll be a few fans that actually look at the latter and go, do you know what? Yeah, let's play Waneri alongside Saka and Martinelli, and let's see what them front three can do. That's all he's got right now, Mikel Arteta. That's all he's got. So we might be able to look at playing Waneri through the middle, Martinelli left, Saka right, or maybe he wants to switch it around a bit and give Ethan a go on the left or on the right and play Saka on the left. It's something they might be able to switch it up a bit in the front three. That's what might be able to happen. So that's what we have to try and look at now. And I really believe that there's an opportunity for us, if we get those players back, to have a real good go at it. Because that's all we can do now, people. We've left ourselves in this mess. This is our fault. This is the club right now who have to hold themselves accountable to blame for this, because there is no way that I can see anything else happening if these players don't come back. Now, a lot of people are saying, Saka, don't rush him back, leave him till next season. I would agree. I'm just going on what I think the manager will do. And I think the manager is going to bring Saka back into the mix. I really do. I'd be stunned if we don't see Saka until next season. I really will be stunned. So it's one of those. It's interesting. So let's see where we are at. Okay, let's bring some other news before we come to a close. Where are we? This is going to be quite an interesting one. Don't know anything about this. Literally saw it today. Thought let's have a chat about it, shall we? Who's this guy? Well, it's Arsenal and Chelsea that are amongst a host of other clubs that are monitoring the development of the River Plate winger Ian Subiabre. Have I said that right? Subiabre? I don't know. Let's call him Subby. Subiabre, is it? 18 years old. He has a £30 million release clause. The clubs have held talks with the players' reps, but no offer has been made so far. Look, it's an easy deal to do. €30 million. If he's that good and they believe he's the guy that's going to take us to next level in a couple of years, then get it done. But do not make that one of our most exciting summer signings. That's all I will say. Anybody know anything about this guy? Who? People are saying. Who? I was the same. I read it and I thought, who's that then? I have absolutely no idea who this guy is. Let me have a look at his stats this season. Let me have a look at his stats, shall we? Because I have no idea what he is about. I don't know how to say his name either. So that could be interesting. Oh, he's hardly played. Oh my God, he's hardly played. For the under 20s in the South American Championship, he scored 3 goals in 8 for the Argentina under 20s. He's got a goal and an assist in the under 17s in both there. For River Plate, he's hardly played. He's made 4 appearances. 4 appearances he's made. He's 18-year-old. So, yeah, he's hardly played, this kid. So I don't think this is going to be one that lights up the league, let's be real. I don't think this is going to be one that I look at and think, oh, yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. That's not something that would excite me, that's for sure. Next bit of news, obviously we spoke about the women's last night on Judges Stream. We've just spoken about Andrea Berta. We've spoken about the players that he's brought in. There's also the press conference of Arteta, which will be held this evening. And then we've got the news from Brazil. The Arsenal duo Gabriel Magalhães and Gabriel Martinelli have both been named in Brazil's preliminary squad for their upcoming World Cup qualifiers against Colombia and Argentina later this month. This is the next problem Arsenal are going to have. We literally do not have any room for injuries. And we're going to have a lot of these players going out on international. David Raya is going to go out. Timber's going to play. Saliba's going to play. You probably wouldn't surprise me if Ben White gets called up for this time. Lewis Skelly's going to get called up for England. Calafiori's going to play. Gabriel, we've mentioned. Obviously, we've got Jorginho and Thomas Partey that I imagine will play. Declan Rice will definitely play. Odegaard will definitely play. Who else is there that's going to play? Obviously, Martinelli being called up means that he's going to be fit, so he's going to be back definitely in time for April. And then, of course, Trossard and Marino are definitely going to be called up. So there's only really Ethan, that isn't going to get called up. That isn't injured. So this is what we've got to do now. We're going to be crossing everything, going, please, 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 do not get yourselves injured, people. Do not get yourselves injured, because we can't afford any more injuries. We're in that mess right now. We really are. And I can't see any more injuries, man. I really can't. Apparently, LB loves this new player, according to Timmy. I don't actually know much about him, but if LB's saying he rates him, then fair play. He definitely rates the other guy. Ivichuri, is it, or Evie Messi, as he calls him? I don't know enough about him, but apparently he's been phenomenal and he looks fantastic. And City are looking to get him, so he's the guy that I have heard of. I think he's at River Plate as well, but I might be wrong. He's the guy that people are talking about. So that's that. Obviously, the training today, they've spoken about as well. I'm not going to show all of that, but there has been people. And then it comes to Thomas Partey. Now, Charlie Watts, big up to Charlie. Charles has said Arsenal have yet to initiate any contract talks with Partey, and there's a growing feeling within the players' camp that the club will not push to keep him beyond this season. Now, yesterday there was rumours that he was going to be offered a one-year extension. It looks now as if that's kind of been poo-pooed by Charlie Watts. Now, I'm going to say this. I would keep him for another year. However, if we were getting two players in the ilk of Zubimendi and Kimmich to replace Partey and Jorginho, I would rather go with that. If I said to you now, do you want Partey and Jorginho or Zubimendi and Kimmich? You're taking Zubimendi and Kimmich, right? So if they're the players that we link with and they're the players we believe are going to be given the opportunity, that's what we're going to have to go with, right? So let's just see where we're at. Jorginho, I believe, will end up going to Brazil. Thomas Partey, I'm still not sure. But if he does stay, right, then I'll be happy with a year. I'll be happy. I would. I think he's been our best midfielder. I don't think there's any need to rush him out the door. If he would like to stay, I think he should be made welcome. If not, then you can't keep a player that wants to leave. But Charles Watts is suggesting that we haven't had any initiate contract talks with him yet, and there's a growing feeling that he will not push to keep him beyond this season. So let's see what happens there. Let's see. Also, the Rwanda partnership is under threat, apparently. I understand Arsenal are considering not renewing the Visit Rwanda partnership for a third term and are exploring more lucrative sponsorship alternatives. If I'm honest with you, I don't care. I really don't care who our sponsors are. I really never have and never will, to be honest with you. I miss the JVC days. They were class. Who else is sponsors? O2, obviously Fly Emirates, Sega, Dreamcast. Yeah, I miss all those days. Cyber Reality Training Centre, they're all in training today. Declan Rice is in training. We've obviously got players, Jorginho there. Who else is there? We've got Wanyeri, we've got Miles Lewis-Skelly, Gabriel, Calafiori that I can see, Trossard that I can see. And here we've got Saliba, who's in training today, so that's good. And then who's this going to be? Yeah, it's Leandro Trossard. The feeling when the Champions League is back. Well, we've got to win it. We've got to win it. Calafiori in Arsenal training, Lewis-Skelly in Arsenal training. Good vibes in training there. We've obviously, that's the young kid in it. Is that Butler Day? Obviously, Saliba, Timber, got Zinchenko and Calafiori. In the sunshine. That's what it is. In the sunshine. And we need to be positive about this because this is a massive, massive game. Massive game. One that we need to win. And if I'm honest with you, I feel very nervous about. They've got players that can hurt us. Bakayoko, Noah Lang, De Jong. And Arsenal have got to try and at least keep it tight, keep a clean sheet, and try and stick their way through it. Now, everybody knows what I would do in this game. Everybody knows I would change things right now. Everybody's aware that what I would do, formation-wise, is I would do something which I think has been needed for quite some time now. And that is to change the formation to a three at the back. Because with a three at the back, there's an opportunity for you to do quite a lot, right? And what it does as well is with the substitutes, it actually allows for there to be some movement. So like-for-like subs is something that Mikel Arteta likes. And I think it would be very, very easy for the subs to come on in place of that new system at 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, whatever the hell you want to call it, right? At the moment, we're basically playing 4-6-0, aren't we? That's what we're doing. Yeah, a lot of people are laughing about it, saying it's 4-6-0. It really is. And it's quite evident that we haven't got a focal point up front. Marino's been dropping deep. At times he was right back, left back, and God knows where. Calafiori trying to invert and going forward. Kieran Tierney and Zinchenko doing the same things in both inverted in midfield and at the moment playing in midfield as Zinchenko is. Ethan's the guy. And if I'm honest with you, I have to put my money on someone to score at the moment. It's Ethan. There's only two ways Arsenal are scoring. A rocket from Ethan Nwaneri or a delivery and a set piece with a Gabriel or Saliba header. That's the only way I can see us scoring right now. And I'll put Marino in that as well because he does get his head on it, to be fair to him. That's the only way we're scoring goals. And I'm just not so sure that I'm actually happy with that going into these games. But what choice have we got, right? What choice have we got? Let's have a play around with it on the tactics board, because there is stuff that we can do. And some people will say that there's an opportunity for us to take a look at different formations. And a lot of people have said to me, what do you mean, Dan? What would you do? What would you do? That's this team that I think you'll go with, right? The 4-3-3 with Raya in goal, Gabriel and Saliba, Timber and White, who I think it will be this time. I don't think Lewis Skelly and Calafiori will play this one. I think Ben White will start and Timber will go over to the left, which is, as you remember, if you remember and wind your memories back, this was the back four and back five that he went with. Party sitting and holding in the kind of anchor here. Rice on that left-hand side, but in that advanced 8 role, and Erdegaard in the advanced right role towards a kind of attacking 10, as people sometimes call it. Trossard, I think, will be on that left-hand side. Marino, I think, will stay up top, and I think Waneri will definitely be our right winger or right forward. Now, people have said to me, what else can we do? Is there anything that we can do here? Is there anything that you think we can change? And some people are saying, I mean, I was speaking to Harry Simeon, Tom Canton, and a few of the others, they were saying, I don't really think he can change much, Dan. Well, he can change. He can change, right? And you might not like it. It might not work. But you've got to try something different, okay? You've got to try something different. And what I would do is I would change things completely. So there's two options here that he can do, right? There's two things that he can do. He could look to play a back line with Saliba, Gabriel, and Ben White. And then he could look to play Timber as a kind of wing back, Lewis Skelly being brought into the mix as a kind of left winger. And then what he would do is he would bring off Marino and he would play Waneri and Trossard up top, Erdegaard behind, and then Partey and Rice would come into a double pivot. So he'd basically be having this as a formation, right? Some people are worried about Timber. I've seen him up and down doing this. He's brilliant defensively. Is he good as White going forward? Maybe he's not so good, to be fair, overlapping, right? Maybe that's not the case. But you could do that. And to be fair, if you want White, you could actually do this and play White there and have Timber at the back. So there's an option there, right? That's one of the things he can do. If you wanted to do something different, you could bring Calafiori into the mix and play him in a back three as well. And then what you're doing is you're allowing Trossard and Waneri to basically be the attackers, and you're not playing a one focal point striker. You're not putting someone up there and saying, this is yours, I'm lumping it up to you. That's what he could do. That's one of the options. And now you look at the bench and you think, right, I'm going to have to make a change here now, right? I'm going to have to make a change. Lewis Skelly ain't really working for you. You're going to be bought off, and I'm bringing on Kieran Tierney, who's going to be our left wing back. If you don't want Kieran Tierney to come on, you can bring Calafiori, or if you really wanted to, I don't like him defensively, but you could bring on Zinchenko. You want to bring on somebody else, you think, yeah, do you know what? It's not really working for Trossard up there. Let's bring more of a focal point on, and Marino can go and stand up top with Waneri and play off of each other. If you're not happy with that and you think, do you know what? It's not really working for Ethan. He's got fatigue again. He's got cramp. Then you'll have to bring Sterling on. But right now, there's an opportunity for us to actually have some subs that can come on and cause some problems and actually be like for like. And I actually feel more comfortable with Tierney, Zinchenko, Lewis Skelly, and even Calafiori attack-minded than I do with some of the others coming on. Because defensively, I'm not a fan of Zinchenko, if I'm honest. And I have to say, I'm not a massive fan of Calafiori defensively either. And a lot of people have said so far that, wow, this is definitely something that we need to address, is this defensive stacked Calafiori is going to be fantastic. Well, defensively, I think he's let us down at times. I've seen him get skipped past. I've seen him get spun. It's not been great, if I'm honest. It's not been great. So, look, I know it's kind of a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-1-2. Or maybe it's a 3-5-2. But for me, right now, we have to change it up. I need to see something, man. I need to see something, and it needs to be something different, because right now I'm frustrated by the fact that we're doing like for like and we're just waiting for it to happen. The other thing Mikel Arteta hasn't actually done yet is when we last won against Leicester. Yes, we started with Sterling, Trossard and Waneri, and in my opinion, it did not work. But he flung on Marino as an impact sub, and it did work. And he hasn't done that since he's been starting Marino. And I just wonder if Marino is more of a super sub in that position. People have said he can be an auxiliary Fellaini type striker. Well, I think you need to be bringing on those sort of players. And this is what I keep saying about Kai Havertz. He has a place in the squad when he's fit, in my opinion, because the contribution is clear to see. But I would be utilising him more as a sub. Olivier Giroud changed the game up, different dimension. Peter Crouch, Andy Carroll, they've all had him over the years, right? That is where I see Kai Havertz coming in and fitting into this system. And I'm not comparing him to those players in terms of quality. I just think that he's a player that can come in and actually do something. Now that he's out, it's like we're stuck. Now, Jesus would probably be playing there, right, if he was fit. Marino can come on and cause some problems. He's not a brilliant starter. He's definitely not a striker. But if you wanted to bring him on and lump it long to him, you could do. But when we're starting there, we're not using him. He's not actually in the striker role. And that's my biggest problem, man. So tomorrow night, I'd love to see us go and win the game, even if it's 1-0. I do think it's going to be a tricky two-legged affair. I do think there's going to be a lot of fight in it from both teams. And I think it's going to be quite nasty. I think it's going to be quite stinky. I think it's going to be quite brutal and ruthless by teams. But I want to see us just get the job done. I hope it isn't 0-0 and then 0-0 at the Emirates and it goes to penalties. I really don't want to be seeing that, or even if it's 1-1. I need to see Arsenal going through this round. I can't see us going out, because if we do go out, I think it's going to get incredibly toxic. And I think it's going to end the season, which had so much hope at the start of it, with just absolutely damning evidence again that we cannot get across the line and win that trophy. And that's where we're going to leave it, people. I will give you my prediction tomorrow night. I think it will be a 0-0. I don't think that Arsenal are going to score, and I don't think that PSV are going to score. I think we're going to keep a clean sheet. The only thing I will say that fills me with a little bit of concern and an issue is that our record away from home in Europe is really poor. Obviously, we get Inter Milan, we lose. Atlanta, we could have beat. Porto, we lost to them away. Olympiacos, Villarreal, Sporting Lisbon. We never did well in that kind of Europa League competition over 2 legs with Mikel Arteta as well. And I need him to prove that he can go somewhere and deliver. And he has done it at Sporting Lisbon. He did do it at Girona. Where else did we go away? There was somewhere else we went away as well that we got that we did well in. But for me, when I look at it right now, I need to see more. Hopefully we win 1-0. Hopefully we win 2 or 3-0. I can't see it personally. Yeah, I can't see it. So we have to go from there. Let's pick up some of these super chats before we go. This one comes in from True Gunners TV. Big up to you, Brandon. Make sure you're following True Gunners TV, people. You'll see Brandon on Tuesday nights. Usually it won't be tomorrow night. It'll be Wednesday night now. So you'll see him there. Berta would be a great appointment. It makes the most sense from a footballing standpoint, not just because of experience, but we're built on defensive stability and play a similar style to Atletico. Look, I'd love us to have a Diego Simeone type manager alongside Berta, because I'm not too sure whether Arteta is the guy still. But right now, I think it will prove who the problem is at Arsenal with Berta coming in, because we know it is not him in terms of his experience, and he will definitely prove to be a good appointment. And we'll see, was it Edu? Was it Vinay? Was it both of them? Or is there actually more problems still? Because if these problems are still happening with the appointment of somebody like Andrea Berta, I do believe there is a serious problem with the board and the ownership at this club. So that is what is going to give us the evidence and all we need. So big up to you, Brandon. I hope you're well, bruv. And that's us. Hopefully we get to a stage where we can be confident again. But right now it's hard for the Arsenal. It really is. And I've got to be honest with you, I'm not too confident going into tomorrow night's game. And I don't think anybody is. I think some people are getting confident and optimistic and saying, yeah, it's going to happen. Why are you so negative? Don't worry about it. We're going to be fine. There's going to be this, that, and the third. I've got to be honest. I'm not so sure that I am that positive about it, right? I've just got to be honest. I'm not so sure that I am. Because I've just got to be real at the moment. I don't see Arsenal scoring goals. And when you don't score goals, you don't win games, as Michael Owen once said, which was probably one of the most pathetic quotes ever, along with his other 10 or 13 that he had. But I will say this, I do think that there's an opportunity for us to go out. And I hate saying that, because it's PSV and we should be going, brilliant draw. That will do us, right? That will do us. And we're not saying that. We're not saying that at all. So, look, I'm in that position where I'm not feeling confident. I hope that we can do it, but let's see what happens. Listen, people, make sure you stay tuned. Hit the like and subscribe. Make sure you go over and give Flawless some love at Sarcasm City TV. He's on there at the moment ranting about how bad Rasmus Højlund is and Manchester United, and it's worth listening to because it's funny watching him rant. So make sure you go over there. Say Dan Potts sent me 12th man raid. Make sure you show him some love and spam the chat over there, people. Make sure the 12th man community is proving that they are going and supporting other people. So make sure you go and say hello to Flawless. Dan Potts sent me 12th man raid, and just go and spam Højlund is crap, and he'll appreciate that. Big up to every single one of you. I'll be back at 8 p.m. tonight. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Big up, people.